as we have now come to the end of Mariah's masterclass, all 1 hour and 44 minutes we have covered across these 5 podcast episodes. Um, any surprises? Any takeaways? Did you learn anything? Yeah,
Yeah,
where are your thoughts?
surprises. I think that the "you got me" moment got me. Like that was a nice little surprise that I didn't expect. I think obviously just taking it. I think that, and the biggest thing I learned from it was just for me the redefinition of what the voice means, and that it's not just about singing. It's about standing up for yourself. It's about communicating lyrics, communicating with other people. You know, using your voice to sample your own voice. Like the voice can be used as an instrument for so many different things, which I thought was a really smart thing for her to do, and was a really exciting thing to sort of go on the journey with. So yeah, that those are my takeaways, I think.
My like takeaway was just how effective Mariah is in using her voice with live musicians, like her
Mm.
taking her voice to her upper register to mimic the violin, and for them to, for her to be able to bounce back and forth with a violin, to see that, like, I could suppose that would happen, like I know that can happen, but to actually see it was very, like, wow, quite humbling. um
Mhm.
I think I kind of learned. I was quite fascinated with those parallels I drew between myself, sports coaching athletes, and Mariah, vocal coaching a singer. And that
Yeah.
was an interesting moment. A surprise for me was that horse face warm up thing. That What did you call it?
I called it a oh gosh, what did I call it? I call it a bubble.
A
But
bubble. That was it.
I guess it would be a lip trill. A lip trill.
Lip
Uh,
trill. Yeah. The the lip trill was the surprise I didn't see coming.
yeah.
Josh, do you have a favorite lesson? We had 9 lessons. The first one was meet your instructor, but lessons 2 through 9 were genuine lessons. Do you have a favorite?
I think my favorites were the sort of the Brandy two-parter. Um, but actually, to talk about, I quite liked speaking about like our lyricism and writing with samples. Our episode, I liked us talking about that. That was really, I think that was where we kind of like hit our stride and we found some nice exciting things. But to watch, for sure, watching her, watching Brandy in the booth, then back and forth, the reverence they have, the respects they had for each other was probably my favorite. And then obviously the roof.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Looking back at my notes, for the podcast episodes we've recorded, yeah, lesson 7, I was like, oh, it's only 9 minutes, instrumentation in emotion, and I don't have a whole lot of notes, but we had a really good chat about that, and I
Mm.
think sometimes we were saying, weren't we, that there's not a lot happening on paper, but it's the simplicity that makes it so magic. That there's She's just there doing her thing, but oh my god, what a privilege to watch. And we started to draw some parallels. If I were to pick a favorite, I probably would pick the background vocals part 1 and 2, because to see Mariah go back and forth with Brandy, like, that was really, really special. But I also really enjoyed her going back and forth with the string quartet, which we had across a couple of episodes, because I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to have that, or to get so much enjoyment, or to really appreciate, how, like she says, in the title, that is her using her voice as an instrument,
Mm.
illustrated. She's illustrating the title of the entire masterclass in that back and forth. The split
Yeah.
screen moments between her and the violinist were really,
We
really
need to find
beautiful.
out the name of. We need to stand. We need to follow. You know, she
Yeah.
was fantastic. Like, you know, Brandy's Brandy, but and I'm sure this woman that was playing violin is incredibly well respected in her field as well. So we need to give her flowers and her due too, because she was like low key like MVP. Like I loved it. The conversations they had, the back and forth, the learning, the it was great. It was great.
Yeah, she had several minutes there of screen time, and yeah, we need to find her. So let's get hunting lambs. Let's get tagging. Um, any final thoughts? Are you satisfied with this masterclass? Would you have her do it all over again? Would you have her do more?
Yeah, I am satisfied. I don't think I need it another masterclass format, but maybe a less bells and whistles, maybe a YouTube something where she's in the studio. I'd love to see her do this again, take a song, reimagine it with another artist, maybe over like a 45-minute episode, where we're in the studio and we go from start to finish and we get a new version at the end. I would love that. I would love a mini series of this. I mean, maybe that's something that could happen for Butterfly 25 as she reworks even more of the songs. And that could be sort of a project that accompanies an EP or a little album or whatever. Like I could see more of this happening, but the behind the curtain in the studio, I loved it.
I think you're onto something there because she has said a few times that they're kind of collecting all this footage, and as
Mm,
she's in the Butterfly Lounge, they don't really know what to do with it. And I'm like, well, there's MasterClass, but that's one person. I think
mm,
that Brandy was part of that deal. I do think that she has got a lot more footage, and maybe if there is an EP or something, maybe I'm so much more invested in this new version of The Roof because we got to see it get worked on. And I would love to see her. I mean, if we get more songs come out of the Butterfly Lounge and we don't get behind the curtains, I'd be like, oh, that's a shame. I would have killed. I
um,
would, I'll pay. But yeah, maybe it's something on her YouTube channel. Maybe it can be tied in with, I don't know, Amazon. I don't know what it is. But as for
it might-
Masterclass, I was satisfied by it, and I would have her come back and do more. Either go through the process again with a different song, or go in on an area, like maybe like I suggested in the previous episode, have a whole thing on collaborations, and she
Mhm.
could work with different artists on a couple of different songs or something, because her and Brandy, that's a snippet of a whole like evening or day
Yeah.
in the Butterfly Lounge. Like, let's actually, let's create a song with an artist. Let's do a writing session, an exploration session. Let's do a recording session. Let's do a mixing session. You could have like not just like one recording session. They could have like 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
together or something.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fascinating to see for sure. And even if she was just writing a song for someone else,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it could be something completely new, completely fresh song that's not even her. Like we see the producer, the writer, and all of that. Um, and yeah, just and then the final takeaway, something I said before, is that I feel like this is very much her dipping her toe in bringing the memoir to life in a visual way. And gradually sort of like, okay, what would it be like potentially if, the meaning of Mariah Carey was developed into a television series, perhaps. I think that's what this is sort of like testing out, shall we say.
And I remember back in the first episode here, you said you kind of took this masterclass as like a rebranding of herself in a way.
Yeah.
Like, look at what else I do. I'm not just a diva stood there singing a
Mm.
song. I'm heavily, involved in the creation process. And I think in that regard, this was rather successful.
100%. I absolutely agree. I don't think as many people will see this as we imagine. Like I'm talking about it like, ooh, like everyone's going to watch it, which is why I think that she should move forward with this type of thing and put it in a medium that everyone can see. Because I think this is part of a rebranding in a real sort of sophisticated, safe environment to do so. Um, and if she hypothetically were wanting to achieve that, it would have to be in an environment that was like everyone could see. So she's not just, the girl that comes out at Christmas, the girl that had the big voice in the 90s. Like that, there's look at what she can do and still does, and how important that still is within the music industry.